I got the keys to this place the same day that the governor shut the state down. So basically told us we couldn't move in. People thought this was a dumb idea, crazy idea. Why do you want to be here? The truth of the matter is it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. And fun fact, there are more people that walk through the Spectrum each year than Disneyland. We won 2 lines of business by people, executives that were eating at Wahoo's that saw that we were an agency coming into the area and called us up and said, it just so happens that we're looking for an agency. So it was amazing, $500,000 in business while we were under construction.
Here I am with Anthony Trevino.
Anthony Trevino. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, how are you?
Do you know why they call the 1%ers the 1%ers? Because they do things that the 99% don't want to do.
Hi everyone. Who do we have here? Who's the lead here?
All right,
You're the lead?
Zach, I'm the programs director at Cal State Fullerton.
Okay, Anthony Trevino. I'm the CEO and founder. Yeah.
Oh wow, it's great to meet you.
Yeah, I don't always get to participate in these things, but I love when my schedule permits to be available because I have so much history here, and I built the place, and I want to share it with you guys. So what I'll do is we'll do like some quick introductions, and then I'll take you around, and I'm sure you guys want to see the place first.
Absolutely.
What we'll do is we'll take you around so you can see our working environment, and then we'll bring you to these stairs, and then some of the team's going to share with you just their perspective on advertising, their roles. Then I'll come back at the end and we'll do a Q&A, and you guys can ask whatever you want, and we'll get as deep as you want or surface as you want. And hopefully you leave here with just some good insight and inspired a little bit, maybe, perhaps, to continue forward in this career. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
So I'm Anthony Trevino. I'm the CEO and founder of Traffik. I started the company 25 years ago this November. So this November we're celebrating 25 years. We didn't start in this building. It didn't look like this, trust me. Very humble beginnings in, anybody know where Downey is? Mm-hmm. So I started the company in Downey, a little 250 square foot office that I painted and laid the carpet down myself, and then moved to City of Commerce. You guys know where the Citadel is? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So we had a place there for about a year, and we moved to downtown LA, right by Little Tokyo, and in the Arts District, which now is booming and amazing. And we had a place there for a while, and then we moved out to Orange County 15 years ago-ish, 16 years ago, yep. And we've been at 2 locations, and this is our latest home. And so I'll get more into that. I'll introduce some of the team that's with me today, some of our executive leadership. Brent. And if you have any luggage, he'll take it.
Yes, yes. I'm also a bellman, but no, nice meeting you all. I'm glad you guys could be here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the tour and everything.
Also professor.
Oh yeah, professor too. I know I don't look it, but I wanted to kind of make sure I was casual too, So yes. But no, so I went to where I teach is at Irvine Valley College, West Cliff University, and then I did my alma mater at Chapman University, undergrad and grad there. So you will meet a lot of different people in different roles. Some of them are Cal State Fullerton alums. We have one that's from 1985, Darcy over. So, no, it's not that.
So this is former employee.
So,
he'll be leaving with you guys. So.
I'll also be passing my resume.
Yes, exactly.
But thank you guys for coming by. So.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Jeremy Trout, Creative Director. I don't know if we have any creatives here. If not, you'll need to work with creatives. So I'll be happy to share a little bit with you about kind of what my career's been like. Started as a graphic designer, worked my way up through art director to creative director. We have a team of art directors, writers, designers, programmers, etc. So definitely we'll be happy to share a little bit about the creative side of what we do.
I'm Darcy O'Byrne. I'm the Executive Director of Account Services here. I am a Cal State Fullerton alumni. I did major in marketing and communications, and I actually minored in art. I don't think you guys knew that. I actually started there as a major in art, but you couldn't major in it and minor in communications, so I actually had to reverse. But yes, I went to Cal State Fullerton, so I know the college well, and so welcome.
So you're in our home. We moved in here in 2020. I got the keys to this place the same day that the governor shut the state down. So basically told us we couldn't move in. We worked from home for, I don't know, maybe a month or two max. I was like, this is crazy. We're a team of collaborators. We need to be face to face. And so we came back and never left. And we've been here ever since. And so we love it here. When I chose this building, people thought it was crazy because we're the only non-retail tenant in Irvine company history. People thought this was a dumb idea, crazy idea. Why do you want to be here? The truth of the matter is it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. Our visibility here, the foot traffic here, the amenities here, they trump anything, anywhere. We have more restaurants and shops and amenities in any building in Orange County. We have signage on the building that you can't get in most of their properties. And fun fact, there are more people that walk through the Spectrum each year than Disneyland. So that's how much foot traffic is here. We won 2 lines of business by people, executives that were eating at Wahoo's that saw that we were an agency coming into the area and called us up and said, it just so happens that we're looking for an agency. So it was amazing, $500,000 in business while we were under construction. So it's paid off well, and we love it here, and it's been an amazing thing. So when they showed me this property, there were no walls here, and what you're standing on was it was dirt. So it was about 3 or 4 feet lower, just dirt, rubble. They basically said you have the ability to do whatever you want here and dream big. So we did. So everything you see here today is something that I designed. And I didn't have a full vision for the office. I started in one area and spilled over into another and spilled over into another until the whole office was built. And it's really a montage of places that make me happy, places I like to visit. You know, oftentimes, like when people leave their home to go on vacation, they leave because, you know, they like the way a hotel makes them feel. They like the way a restaurant makes them feel. And usually you want to go away from home to experience that. And I said, what if we can bring all of that home and all of those cool and unique experiences of a hotel and restaurants, and what if we brought that here into our own environment? So you're going to see a lot of places that were inspired by restaurants and by hotels that I have visited. So starting with the entry, that is an exact replica of the check-in desk at the Lido Hotel in Newport Beach. I checked in one day, I was staying there for the weekend. I was like, yes, I want it to feel like you're checking in when you get here, because I felt like I wanted it to feel like a reception, like a hotel entrance. I wanted you to stay for a while. I'm like, why as well go all in, right? And so we hit the bell desk, and so we wanted to create a warm and welcoming experience for people. But all of this decor that you see in here started with these drums. So these drums are from Timothy Alton, and they're about 200 years old. So they were in an old circus. And he went around the world when he was alive, and he collected different things from all over. And so I needed inspiration for this room. I didn't have it. I went to a store one day, I saw these drums, I bought them, and you can see those colors they extend throughout everything that you see in this room. Why am I talking about the decor of this place? Because it's an extension of the brand. You'll have to do that one day for clients. You'll have to do it for yourself as you build your personal brand. Everything should be a reflection of what the brand represents. So this whole environment is really a reflection of who we are. I have a philosophy that it doesn't matter what business that you're in, we're all in hospitality. We're here to serve. And so for me, I'm like, let's create a place that feels like hospitality, right? So that's kind of these rooms. We built a podcast studio in here and had some fun with color and nuance. And you have any questions about this room? Want to keep going? You guys want to put your stuff down? You guys can use this room. If you open this door, you can put your stuff down here. Zaina right there, she is a trained black belt. She will make sure that don't worry, it's safe. Yeah, please. What I like in design is the juxtaposition of old and new, right? I think that applies to advertising, it applies to great interior design. So you'll see a lot of stuff that looks old, coupled with things like the chandeliers that have newness to them and sparkle. So I really believe in that philosophy of the juxtaposition between old and new, texture and colors. And so we'll go over here. One of my favorite museums in New York is MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, and their entrance has this. They hired a very famous artist to come in, and he painted this at the entrance. And so I visited one day, and I'm like, we got to have that at our entrance. So we replicated it. We just thought this would be a fun area. This is the second largest screen in Irvine company, aside from the ones that face the freeway. You'll always find Willy Wonka playing, maybe La La Land, Greatest Showman. All of those movies have a very particular resonance. You know, for me, this is like Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Original Willy Wonka, by the way. Not Tim Burton, not even the new one. I love, you know, if you think about The Greatest Showman, you think about Willy Wonka, they're these individuals that dreamed bigger than people thought they should. They created things, they made people happy, they made people smile. That's kind of what I want to infuse in this place when you walk in. I want you to feel good, like you're in our candy factory, you're seen behind the scenes. So this is always playing, and it makes me happy when I come by and see it. One of the art galleries in New York has a couple of these sculptures from this artist, and I was fascinated by just kind of the emotion that it evokes. So I had to have it, so I bought it, and then I built this foundation for it. But I thought it was a cool way of like having people come into the office, inspire them, like this is the attitude that you want when you're about to go handle the day, right? It's like you want to beat your chest. We're here to do some impressive things, and I just thought, like, you know, it not only is it beautiful, I love art, but also I thought it was a good way of saying, like, it's time to like get into the right mindset of what we're about to do today. Which then applies to this, which is when you're not in Kansas anymore, which is a Wizard of Oz reference. I love Wizard of Oz, and I had seen this in Vegas done this way, but the images here were a little risque, probably not appropriate for Orange County. So I had Jeremy, who you met, I said, hey, I have this idea, this vision for what I want, but I need you to change the imagery. So Jeremy took it upon himself with very little direction from me to imagine what it could look like. So all of this is old advertising. So he put old ads in here. But embedded in here were some Easter eggs that he put just for me. So I'm Cuban, and so he put a little picture here of Cuba. He put our original office in LA. So when we were in LA in the Arts District, we were here in the 3rd floor. So he got an image of that and put it in here. And there's a couple other things. New York is in here because he knows I love New York. But we had fun with it, so like this is also another example of how everything influences itself. Places you travel, things that you love, the old version of our industry coupled with just art itself. So like it was an inspirational piece, and we get to share it. And honestly, when you're here, you're actually not in Kansas anymore. Like there are some things that happen here that don't happen back at home, right? This was a fun room. I saw an image of a speakeasy, and I was like, I need to replicate it. So we basically, I took a picture from Architectural Digest, I gave it to the construction team, and I said, okay, I need you to replicate this, but I want our name up there in lights like it's a burlesque theater. So they did a phenomenal job, I think, and now this has become an area where we entertain here. It's just a great gathering space, and one of the things that I wanted to do in this first floor you see is I wanted to host events, and so I left it open on purpose. So we've hosted so many different events here, and I think that's another part of, like, you know, advertising too. It's also the physical interaction between people and sharing ideas and stories, and so I wanted to create a space where we could do that. So that's kind of the first floor. So far so good?
Absolutely. I'm blown away right now.
You like it?
It's really pretty.
I love it.
This was just because I knew that we would have people like you here or internal meetings, and I just wanted to create a space where we could all gather together. And so we did this, and then I just had, you know, because we needed audio visual, I just had this idea. So I created that DJ booth. I had an idea for old Marshall amplifiers, and I had a company come in, and they don't actually work, but it's a DJ booth. So on the other side is a turntable, and we've had music here, we do audiovisual displays, as you can see, and it's just it's a fun time. So when I built this place too, that was always going to be a conference room, but that was a solid wall. I was like, how boring is it just to stare at a big wall as you walk upstairs? So I had them punch a hole in it so you can see into it. And that's a cool spot to have meetings because you have such a great view of the office. So that was fun too. If you think about how it applies to advertising though, like some of the problems I solved here and some of the things I did here creatively, like that's what we have to do for clients, right? We have to look at things differently, see things in a different way, do things other people wouldn't do. When I had the idea of painting this place black, people thought I was crazy. I walked in here one day while I was under construction. The contractor had his painters here. I overheard the painters talking to each other, laughing. Can you believe that we're painting this office black? People are gonna hate being here. No one's gonna wanna work here. Like they were talking about it while I was, walking in, but they didn't understand the vision of making the walls disappear so that everything else can emerge, right? And it's a simple philosophy. The walls are not important. You make them disappear and make everything else important. So that was the vision again, but it takes you thinking unconventionally to succeed in this business. Otherwise, you're just like everyone else, right? Funny story. You guys have seen that on video, right? Whether you believe it happened or not. Whether you believe it happened or not, you've seen this video. So we tried to get, by the way, there's not a picture of this that exists. It's a grainy video. So we had the vision to do this, but we couldn't extract a still image from the grainy video. So we had one of our 3D artists recreate that. So that's 3 different images. He recreated that, and this was years ago, before AI. Probably would have been a lot easier, huh, Jeremy? Probably would have taken 5 minutes nowadays, but recreated that astronaut from scratch. The detail on it is absolutely insane. Put our T in the center. And this is called the black and white room. It's just an homage to kind of our brand, which is, our colors are black and white because we wanted to kind of, focus on being generic and simple and very monochromatic so that, the idea was that our clients stand out, not us, right? So we pay kind of respect to that in the black and white room. I found those life preservers at an antique shop, had an idea of making them into lights. Then I found these lights, had someone put them together and then created that light fixture. And that light fixture then inspired the rest of the room. But again, it's the juxtaposition, right? It's like being creative in everything. And we're talking interior design, but again, if you guys can get in the habit of seeing things differently and giving different value to what something has, you're going to be incredibly successful in life, not just in advertising. So like taking those old vintage life preservers and turning them into something new, it's very Dr. Seuss. And we'll get to a Dr. Seuss room and I'll explain it. But Dr. Seuss, Theodore Geisel had a way of seeing things as more value than they essentially had, and bringing things to life in new ways. So that's kind of the inspiration for that. We have different offices throughout. This is called the Beverly Hills room. Have you guys ever been to the Beverly Hills Hotel? One of my favorite hotels. The nostalgia there is just amazing. So that's their wallpaper. I found their supplier, got their wallpaper, got their pink paint, and recreated the room. There's some photos in there from a modern day photographer who did a retro shoot there recently, and so those pictures are numbered, and it's just a special place. I wanted to create pockets that evoke different emotions so that our team on any given day, based on how they were feeling, could enter a room and it would spark different levels of creativity, right? So obviously this room feels different than that room, and you'll see the different rooms.
Well, I love that. That's so cool.
Anybody know Alec Monopoly? He got super famous as a graffiti artist in LA. And then, yes, just like that. And then he stopped painting. Well, he still paints on walls, but he started to do paintings and got super famous doing paintings, and then started to do sculptures. I have a couple pieces of his work. This is the newest one. I wanted this piece for 5 years. It sat in a gallery in New York, and for 5 years I negotiated the heck out of it. And finally, the last year when I visited, I finally twisted his arm enough. I got it for a steal. I could sell it for 5 times what I bought it for today. But the beautiful thing, again, seeing things differently, Beverly Hills Hotel piece of art in Manhattan. Nobody in Manhattan can appreciate it. They don't care about Beverly Hills. They don't care about California. So they had the piece in the wrong spot. So it sat there for years. So had they have put this in a California-based gallery, probably would have sold it. So again, they had the right piece in the wrong place and it had no value. Interesting thing about negotiation to think about. This is called the Blue Room. So remember, I said when I started this company, I started in a 250 square foot office that I painted that blue. So this is a tribute to the size of the room that I started the company in, the color. I still have the original desk that I started the company with. It's over there. We'll see it in a second. And then this artwork Jeremy created. I was like, I need something on the walls. I was like, do something, I don't know, like be creative. And so he created these characters. And we did them oversized and put them in beautiful gold
Do they have names?
frames. Jeremy, did you name them?
No.
No? No name. So this is Dr. Seuss room.
Oh my God. So cool.
So everybody knows Dr. Seuss for children's books. What very few people know about Dr. Seuss, Theodor Geisel, is that he was in advertising. He used to write ads. So that's how he got his start. In fact, a lot of his books, even these books you see up here, Yertle the Turtle and Sam I Am, they either have political meaning or they have advertising like hidden through them. So when he passed away, his wife, Audrey, gave all of his originals to one of the San Diego universities. When the truck pulled up to the university, they thought they were going to get a bunch of drawings and a bunch of books. Well, they ended up getting these statues. And they're like, what are these? And the wife proceeded to explain that Theodor Geisel, his father worked for the New York City Zoo. And when an animal would die at the zoo that had a unique carcass, he would send that to Theodor in La Jolla. And Theodor would then recreate what he thought that animal would look like in his world. So like the real original one, ram horns, he took it and made that out of it and said, if this animal came back to life in my world, that's what he would look like. And he did that with a series of them, and the originals are at the school, but Chase Bank commissioned an artist to do 300 of each, so they're all limited edition. I was in San Diego one day and I saw that guy. I'm like, I gotta have it. Makes me happy. It's silly. It's whimsical. So I bought it and I'm like, crap. I like that. I like it. So anyway, I bought all of them. They have a few new ones I haven't bought, but for the most part, I bought the initial collection. It's just a fun room to have. So he calls that art the unorthodox taxidermy. And then these paintings are actually signed by his wife, Audrey. So very special.
Whoa.
So I was down to the last room and I'm like, I want something different. I want to create a room that promotes discussion, a room where people can't take their computers in and I want them to talk, to think. I want copywriters to like collaborate. So I thought, what better place than a barbershop? People go there, they gossip to their barber, they sit there for an hour, they talk about life. So I had this idea, I found the chairs and we built the barbershop. So the last thing I'll show you is this, the creative pit. All of these desks here that you see, if you were to go to the New York City library, I saw an inspiration picture of the library and I told the designer that I wanted to recreate those desks. So these desks with the lights on them are a complete replica of the New York City Library. So another thing that brings me joy, right? Not only books, but New York, and that was the inspiration for this room. I think I covered everything, yeah. Jeremy, right?
Yeah.
There's some hidden things, like that sign is from our original building, and some little things here and there, but for the most part, that's kind of the office. We'll take you guys down, grab something to eat, and then have some members of the team visit with you for a little while before I come back in and just do a Q&A with you. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Brent, you want to lead the way? Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Which table was the original table that you started off with?
You want to see it? Yeah.
Yes. Wait. We're all following it. Oh my god.
It was a $19 IKEA desk that I put together myself. So I built that, and this is what I started the company on in that tiny little room. Now that I showed you the desk, I got to show you a picture then. Okay.
Move it up.
Go back, go to my office. So I have a real picture of me that my son had painted, and that's it right there.
Aww.
But that's the desk. So you can see the IKEA desk.
Oh, cute.
So that's the blue room. That's the blue room that I started in. That's the desk that we just saw. And so there's a real picture like that on my phone actually. And so yeah, that was probably months after starting. When I started the company, I had a full-time job. So I would go, I actually lived in Downey. I would drive to Irvine. I'd work a full day, go home, spend time with my 2 young boys at the time, put them to bed. Then I would go into that room at about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. I would sit there. Before we had Google, we had Yellow Pages. You guys know what the Yellow Pages are? Okay, we had Yellow Pages. So I had the Yellow Pages there, a phone, and from 10 o'clock at night, I would just pick up the phone and start calling and leaving voice. Nobody was answering, it was 10 o'clock. I would just spend hour after hour after hour just cold calling, pitching, leaving voicemails until about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. My words started to slur. I'm like, so I would go to bed and then do it again and do it again and do it again. So yeah, built it from that place, from that desk. Anyway, yeah, thank you for asking. It's a cool story I get to reminisce on every now and then. Was that fun? Was it helpful?
Yeah.
Did you guys get some good insight? Yeah. As we conclude, I just want to, whatever they didn't answer for you, if you guys have any questions, feedback, anything, I just want to make myself available to you. I've been here the longest, that's why. Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, as a CEO, like, if you were to start over, like, what do you do again?
Well, there are a lot more tools available now that didn't exist back then, right? So I told you I started the company using Yellow Pages and a phone book. So now, I mean, there's so many tools at our disposal, from LinkedIn to Google to AI, all condensing the time frame around connecting with people, right? It's so much easier to connect with people now than it was back then. Back then I would have to call and try to strike up a conversation with a complete stranger and give them a reason to talk to me, right? Or I would just show up to their office and I'd have to give them a reason to give me 5 minutes of their time. So in one way, technology that exists today makes it a lot easier to connect, but also it's noisier. So in that regard, it would also be harder, right? I would encourage you guys to master the art of human interaction, because it's a dying art. Everybody, especially after COVID, even people who know better, after COVID got very comfortable communicating through electronic format only. And so email and texting became the norm. So if you want to stand out, go back to what people have stopped doing and learn how to get good at it, which is that human interaction of being able to walk up to someone, say hello, strike a conversation. Having a one-on-one interaction with somebody is so amazing because you get to hear tonality and voice, you see body language. There are things that they're communicating to you in nonverbals that you cannot get electronically. So if I had to start all over again, knowing that our clients today are bombarded by other agencies trying to solicit their business, and it's all email communication and LinkedIn and DMs, I'd probably start visiting more, go back to walking in and presenting myself, saying hello and saying, look, and respectfully, you didn't make time for me today, so I'm not asking for your time. But perhaps a week from now, you'll sit down with me and I can tell you who I am, what I do, and why it matters to you. And that's how I would do that. And so that's some of what I would do differently, for sure.
As like a CEO, how do what elements do you think are important in running a company and advertising industry to keep your employees motivated?
I'll be honest with you. Motivation needs to come from within.
Okay.
If you guys spend your life trying to find motivation outside of yourself, it's temporal. It's going to come and go. It's fleeting, right? I often tell team members who want an environment that inspires them to create the environment that inspires them, that they're inspired by. So we have a very entrepreneurial environment here where everybody has the ability to dictate the company culture. It doesn't come top down. It actually starts bottom up. I find out about things that are happening here in the culture after they've already happened. So I mentioned some of the things like the Bible study that happens here. I didn't start that. It was something that had already taken place and I got wind of it. That's the autonomy that this place has, is that people could go into areas of interest and introduce it to the culture. And I think it's very fluid that way and it's super important. So I have the ability to inspire and to encourage, but motivation has to come from you. So in the morning, you have to be motivated. You have to be motivated to want to do what you're doing, to find a reason to keep doing it. You gotta have your own why. So when you walk in the door, you have to find the reason within yourself that today is going to be better than yesterday. But we do have the ability as an organization to encourage you, to motivate you, to walk alongside you, to understand what that motivation is, help bring it out of you, help nurture it, to give you more opportunities to expose it. So I don't really look at motivation as my responsibility. I look at encouragement as my responsibility. I look at inspiration as my responsibility. I've done it with the physical aspect of this office, but I also try to do it with connecting one-on-one, trying to bring in clients that are exciting, but the motivation has to happen from you. So don't look to the world to motivate you, because one day that source will be motivating and the next day it'll deflate you. But the motivation that starts with inside you, nobody can take, right? So again, as a CEO, I'm here to encourage and to inspire. You have to come with the motivation.
What's the process for hiring writers, and what do most of the people hire?
I stopped looking for people that had a very specific background in advertising and started to focus more on values and who they are as a person. We can teach you about advertising, and we can teach you about our version of advertising. We can teach you about our industry. We can teach you a lot of different skill sets that you might not have walking in here, but I cannot change who you are as a person. So what we try to look at in an interview is, of course, they have to have basic skills, right? They have to have the ability to do the job. But what gets you hired is your ability to bring something unique that is only yours, that only you can own. Your ideas, your passion, your character, your motivation. I look for people who are muses, who excite me, who I'm like, I just want to be in a room with you and brainstorm. Like, I've hired more people based on how they inspire me or how I think we can riff off each other than because of their pedigree. And while some of the people you spoke to today, like Darcy, has an incredible pedigree, I knew I was going to hire Darcy because when she came for her interview, she walked upstairs and two people that had worked with her previously got out of their seat, walked over to her and hugged her. And I said, in that moment, I looked at it and said, I want to work with her. If somebody who worked with her in the past was they respect her so much that they even broke professional protocol to hug her, I was like, she left an impression on those people. So I hired her based on that. So that's what I look for. I look for character and values more. As far as writers, they gotta be able to tell stories. One of the things I find with writers is they're introverted and they don't like to talk a lot because they express themselves through writing. We interviewed one writer once. When we were asking him questions, he's like, I wish I could just type my answers down and like send them to you in real time. So I get that part of it. But a writer is speaking on behalf of a brand or a consumer, and writers have to be able to defend that perspective. So I do want to look for writers who can tell stories, but who can also be in a room and help people get excited about the stories they're presenting their ideas. So one of the things you guys is super important in pursuing a career in advertising is your ability to defend your ideas. And I'm not just saying like in an intimate environment with your direct manager or your peers, but you really want to make it in this industry, you got to be able to stand up in front of a room and go to bat and wrestle for a client to understand what it is that you're trying to do. And so fighting for your ideas, being vocal is super, super important. And it's something that a lot of people are uncomfortable with. Get comfortable with conflict. If you guys can get comfortable in conflict, you'll go 10 times farther than somebody who backs down from confrontation. So think about that. Well, you guys had a pretty jam-packed couple hours. I hope you guys saw another aspect of our industry that maybe you didn't have before. Maybe it shed light on something, maybe it confirmed something, maybe it completely left you scratching your head as to what the heck is going on and you don't quite understand it. The cool thing is that if you visit 10 agencies, you're going to see 10 different versions of the industry, 10 different cultures, 10 different personality types, and nobody is right or wrong. It's whatever you can create that generates ideas, generates excitement and success for our clients. So yeah, you have another one? Yeah.
Well, like you were just saying how you visit 10 agencies and all be different. I know that I was reading on your website that you guys your kind of whole thing is like to mix marketing and advertising. But other than that, I mean, is that kind of what distinguishes you from other agencies, or what do you think distinguishes you?
We're one of the few agencies that still has their founder. And what makes that unique is that this is not somebody else's interpretation of who Traffik is, it's mine still. What sets us apart is that we're led by an entrepreneur. We're led by a founder. When I sit down with CEOs of companies, I see things different than an agency that maybe had multiple CEOs over time. You look at some of the big agencies of the world, the founders are pretty much all gone. A lot of them have passed away because they're old. The agencies are old. And so you have all these CEOs that have come in and out throughout the years. They change the culture, they change the fingerprint of the agency, and they'll look at problems as the CEO would look at a problem. Well, I can do that because I'm a CEO of 2 companies, but as a founder, I also understand the origin story of a company, of a brand. And so I can sit down and have dialogue with companies, and we can with companies, and we can help them craft a different type of message. One of the things too that sets us apart is our diversity in our client book. So we represent about 40 different industries. How does that give us a competitive advantage, say in healthcare, when the competitor only does healthcare? Simple. Because I can sit at the table with a prospective client and say, look, we can approach this the way your entire industry is approaching it. And if you hired another agency that's all they do is healthcare, they're going to understand your problem and they're going to see it through the lens of your industry, and they will have solved it 10 other times for 10 other people in your industry. But are not consumers human beings? And do they not act a certain way in all other areas of their life? A person that buys a health plan, that signs up for a health plan, buys a Ford F-150, buys a blouse at Windsor, buys a hot dog, buys a Pepsi, buys a bottle. So is it not true then that consumers have a behavior outside of that purchase? Well, what if we, because we deal in so many industries, what if we've studied that behavior? What if we know that the audience that you want to tap into also has these other interests, these other triggers? They've demonstrated this other type of behavior online when they bought their truck, or they bought their jeans, or they bought their water. What if we can take all of that insight and then give you a whole new perspective on how to target that individual in a way that nobody else is doing? We'll talk to them differently, we'll approach them differently, we'll use different platforms. That gives us a competitive edge against other agencies that just do hyper-focus. So I think that's boded well for us in the past, and we continue to lean on that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed your time. I hope it was a couple hours well spent. I'm sure there's a way for you guys to connect with us in the future if you have more questions, or when you guys are looking to get into the industry, we're always hiring. So And I love Fullerton. Some of my favorite people that I've hired over the years have actually come from Cal State Fullerton. So it's a great school. I'm glad you guys are here today, and I hope we were helpful in any way that we could be. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.